What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to an episode of the Nerdwide podcast. This is episode 92, 8 more until episode 100 next year. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Chris Rivers. Chris, how was it coming back to work this week? Coming off your 4-day weekend, how was it?
I wanted my weekend to continue.
Yeah, that's how I always am.
Yeah, it's still hectic because we're trying to get a lot of orders out to allow these places to stock their warehouses.
Do y'all get a big boost for like Black Friday and stuff?
Of orders?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been working toward for the past month and a half, is filling a bunch of that stuff so that they have what they need. We're thinking it's going to probably calm down in the next 3 weeks. So
that's something to look forward to, I guess. Just in time for Christmas. Oh, man. Listen.
How was your week, Doc?
It was busy. And I know we were talking before the show. It's just, I worked this weekend, which is a new thing for my department and everything. We're still trying to iron all that out, but miserable. But we're figuring it out. I played a lot of games this week. But I say that, but it was just like in short, small little bursts. Like nothing worthwhile, like maybe an hour or 45 minutes at a time. But I've got a lot to talk about because I played a lot of new things. I'm caught up on Marvel Snap. Like I'm already done for the week, so there's no point really logging back in, which is frustrating because I just want to keep playing, which I can keep playing. I'm just too good at that one, I feel like. I feel like everyone just makes these dumb mistakes, and I'm just a god at it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not even playing real people. But
I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been watching anything crazy this week?
Man, I was going to finish Blockbuster at the very least. I didn't even start on the last 5 episodes.
I watched the second episode, finished it, and I said, no, I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I feel like they try too hard on some of their one-liners that they do and some of their jokes. I'm just like, and I really don't care about the storylines. Like, I can kind of tell how things are going to pan out already. And I love the Jimmy Woo character. Actor, I forget his name. And Melissa, I always forget her name. It starts with an F. But I really like those actors, but it's just, I can't get into it.
Yeah.
So I passed on that this week after watching an episode. I finished Jack Ryan season 2. So now I am done that way and ready for Jack Ryan season 3, which is just in like 2 or 3 weeks, which I'm so excited about. And then I did the Doctor Who Day of the Doctor special, I think was what it was. It was the last one with Jodie Whittaker until 2023. Right. And man, every time they do the last episode for one of the Doctors, it always gets me bawling. Like, this one was a rough one. They always do their goodbyes in a certain special way, and this one was just beautiful and perfect. So, but now I feel like I'm caught up on everything that I wanted to catch up on. I got Mythic Quest. I might start this week, but just for season, was it 3? Yeah, season 3. So we'll see. But I feel like I'm caught up on everything, which is real weird for me to say, and it's a weird feeling because you're like, there's always something to watch next, and there's nothing there yet. But something that was there this week for us, Chris. Titans season 4, episode 4, Super Mart. We're going back to ReviewGeek.com by Greg Wheeler for the recap of the episode. Of course, full spoilers on for the show. Episode 4 of Titans season 4 starts in 1996 with May arriving at her job and being berated by her boss. She struggles to control her powers, eventually telepathically controlling him and killing the guy via suicide. Everyone rushes in to check on him. May sits content with what's happened. She's unfortunately also loses her job for the 4th time this year. They teased this one, and I was like, oh my god, we're getting Poison Ivy. I didn't recognize that was May, the big four-headed lady from the previous episodes. But the first thing she did was she brings a plant back to life, which was real weird. And I was like, okay, we're getting Poison Ivy back in. Did not get Poison Ivy back in. So, but it was weird, man. I thought we were getting Poison Ivy back in this one. May meets a strange man at the bar offering a business card for the organization, which cultivates special individuals, which Chris saw this in season 1. Episode 1, pretty much. And that was the whole thing. We knew it. Of course, we're talking about Trigon. This is all with ties to him, trying to bring him back to life, destroy the planets, etc., etc., etc. He says, sometimes the brightest lights come from the darkest places. There's no fee or friends required for signing up, but he does encourage her to turn the card over. 3 words happen to be there, and he tells her to say the words out loud, much the same way that Mother Mayhem tried to instill this on Sebastian. When she says these 3 words, something happens. Of course, the 3 words are Azarath, Metreon, Zinthos, which of course is the Ravens, like the way her activate her powers and things like that, if you've ever watched any Teen Titans or any of the animated stuff. Fast forward a year, and May Bennett is at the organization, encouraged to have faith as, quote-unquote, he wants to meet her. Fast forward a month, and all the girls are blindfolded and standing before a large hole in the ground. They each tumble backwards, taking a leap of faith into the darkness. Only one can be triumphant, and that comes from Mother Mayhem, who goes out of her way to make sure her companion tumbles, and she comes out victorious. In the present, Dick and Corey contemplate what to do with Sebastian. They discuss the Red Moon song Corey's been hearing at the diner, while Rachel offers Sebastian some company. He admits he's been hardly sleeping lately, and that May Bennett may wanted her to repeat those 3 words. It seems to be the cycle repeating again, potentially moving the demons across to him from her. When Sebastian says the first words, Rachel recognizes them immediately and hastily tells him to stop. I'm going to put a pin there because this is when I started realizing something was up with Sebastian and Rachel. Jamie said, she goes, I think they might be related. I was like, you're kind of crazy. I think there's something there. So I don't think so. That'd be kind of weird. So remember that. Although the gang are confident no one survived the fire at the asylum, the latest revelations have certainly changed their mind. As the gang head off, Tim is filled in on the gaps in his story, with Rachel's father in charge of everything and the events leading to Trigon's return. When Sebastian hears the word Trigon, he soon perks up, seemingly hiding something from the others. The asylum is not there anymore, but in its place is a supermart, which is a very generic name. I thought was very funny. Apparently it's just an ordinary store, but a ridiculous amount of ravens is circling outside, seeming to tell another story. The Titans head in around the back and find a suspicious-looking entrance. Bennett and the others are aware of what's happening, watching on their monitors and intent on letting Sebastian learn about his destiny and origins. Quote, hounds of hell, it's time. She smiles as a whole bunch of men head out of the mart armed with an array of weapons from inside. So what happened? Well, it turns out May fell pregnant, but as it was a boy, it didn't fulfill the prophecy and was removed. Rachel's the only one they were waiting for all this time, as we know from the events of Season 1. So what this tells me, Chris, is that we are, that is, Rachel and Sebastian are half-brother and half-sister, and, did not see that coming, but apparently my wife did. That's just how it is, I guess.
Yeah. She got you beat on that one.
Yeah, she's been doing that quite a bit lately with those. It's like she needs to be running for TV because she gets the tropes and she knows where they are. While Jinx contemplates whether they should just kill Sebastian and be done with it, the others are obviously against this. However, they're snapped out of their argument by a whole bunch of these armed guards showing up and attacking the Titans. They're all zombified, so the whole solution is just to cut their heads off. So Rachel straight up hacks up a guy with a chainsaw. Beautiful and very well done. Was not expecting it, but very graphic.
Very Evil Dead of her.
Yes, and this is I loved a lot of this episode. We'll talk about it once I get on with the recap of the things. But Jinx manages to hold off the group momentarily, and as they manage to lock the door and buy themselves some time. However, they walk right into a trap as a zombified Deathstroke appears and begins firing on them all. Connor decides to hold him off, punching his head clean off from his shoulders. However, that's not the end, as Deathstroke replaces his head and marches on them again. Bennett happens to be controlling them all from afar, and unfortunately, Connor gets stabbed with a knife. Although the Titans manage to break free and escape, it's not the end of this. Connor heads into the bathroom and vomits up one of those snakes and a lot of blood. He lies to the others, claiming he's okay, but obviously is not. Listen, if we could keep Jinx around in every episode from here on out, I would be A-okay. I feel like she brings so much to the team, and I know she's a villain, I know she's a bad guy, but I really love her dynamic with all of this. Her magic brings a lot of fun and interesting things. The back and forth about Superman hating magic, and he goes, "Oh, he did the whole red dwarf stars taking over a planet excuse again, did he?" It's just some of those just funny dumb quips like that that helps flesh out the universe, and that everyone knows about this. And Beast Boy was even like, "Oh yeah, no, I read that once. That's right." No, it was Tim, and he goes, "Yeah, I've read that once. That's right. He's afraid of magic." I was like, "This is so good. Like, please keep her in this. Like, she's so witty." And I read an article. I wonder if I could find it, that she based her that the actress Jinx based off of her character off of Agents of Shield character, the Australian guy that ends up being with Mockingbird. It's his ex-wife. She based her character off of him.
Now, what was his name?
See, I know it's right there. I read the whole article and I was like, that is wonderful. I wonder if I still have that pulled up on my phone actually.
I cannot think of the character name. I can't.
Yeah, it's gonna bug me. But I've got it pulled up on my phone. Here it is. This is from cinemablend.com. Titans actress Lisa Ambalavinar, I'm gonna butcher that last name, shared how she pulled from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. while crafting her version of Jinx. Back in January, we learned, all right, let's see. That being said, Jinx brings a sort of chaotic energy to the show, and in that regard, and Balvanar shared with Cinema Blend that she was influenced was influenced by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the ABC show that ran from 2013 to 2020. In addition to Lisa explaining how the steps she took to make sure her version of Jinx didn't emulate Doctor Strange on Titans, the actress also talked to me about her role coming into the team, filled with who have established rapport with one another. She shakes things up. We'll get your name right now. Quote, "That is something I liked about the character, coming in fresh. I had remembered, actually, this is something I've never told anyone. I remembered when I used to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and there was a character who came in called Hunter, played by a British actor, and I remembered how he'd come in with his own cheeky British accent and just bring that fresh bit of energy into the show, or something different to a genre that can be a lot brooding. And nothing wrong with that at all, but I feel like that was nice to try and inject that same kind of here's something different. People either love that or they'll hate it, and that's absolutely fine, but it's kind of a conscious thing to do, not just to come in and be the same as everyone else." And I loved it. I mean, she killed it and came off of a hit TV series that ended way too soon.
Yeah.
That we never know the outcome of everything else, because where is Quake in the MCU? I digress. Good episode. Superboy gets stabbed. Did not see that coming.
Were you like me, and as soon as he got stabbed, thinking, "Oh, they've got a knife made of kryptonite"?
Yes, that's exactly what I was like. "Oh, this is it's very Deathstroke-y."
Yeah.
But no, it's just a regular looking knife, and they made sure to zoom in on it several times. It just showed like a regular knife. I bet it was imbued with magic or something like that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the cinematography of this episode as well, because I paid attention to some of the stuff for some reason this week. And the fighting scenes with Superboy, the way he was moving and acting was very teenager-ish, but it was also very protective. Like, he didn't care, he couldn't get hurt. And like, he would walk behind and flare his arms out like this when they were running from Deathstroke's gun. He had his arms flared out like this. Was kind of walking and trying to block all the bullets. And then there was the scene where all the armed people first came into the asylum, and he blocked the way of everybody as they were there. And he said, "Beast Boy, I need your help." So just something small I really enjoyed. But this was a very good episode, and we got a lot of answers. I'm very curious to see what Rachel and Sebastian do from here, because they're now, I guess, kind of contained in this holding cell for now. And I'm very curious to see where this goes. But obviously, there's a lot of similarities between the two, and it's going to be good, especially considering Sebastian's our big villain at the end of the show. So,
spoilers. That's what we've always known.
Mm-hmm. Brother Blood or whatever it is.
Are we supposed to see Jason Todd again this year?
I don't know, but he was promoting the show when it premiered this season. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't. I wish we would.
It'd be a nice little redemption arc.
Yeah.
He could come in and help save the day.
We've got Donna Troy out of the show. We've got Hawk obviously out of the show. Dove is with Donna Troy. So we'd have, I hope they come back, but I mean, with the addition of Jinx, I don't know if they want to keep adding more people into the team.
Right.
But they might. I mean,
maybe they come back for the crossover.
I'd be down for that. I want a huge episode with all of them. So that was episode 4. I don't know if we're getting an episode this week. I hope we do, with it being Thanksgiving and all. But I don't know why they wouldn't.
Right, it's already filmed. It's not like
right. Just go ahead and drop it and let everybody watch that instead of the whatever crappy football game's gonna be on. Next week will be episode 5 of Titans. We're also going to be doing Santa Claus's episodes 1 through 3 on Disney Plus. Really excited about this one, but we can actually start watching it now that Thanksgiving will be over. So we'll do that, which will end us up a week and a half before Christmas will be the last episode. So everyone get in the festive spirit because it's going to be fun. What is it after?
Balls and all that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. After this week, we start watching Christmas movies too for a review, don't we? I want to look at that. The ones we have, I think we've covered all of them at this point.
We've got the one next week won't be a Christmas movie.
Right. And then we'll have to look.
That,
we could dive into all the Hallmark movies, Chris. We could do a full 3 years of those.
I don't think we have that kind of time.
I don't either. Only have one news stories here. I think it's a pretty exciting one. Amazon orders multiple Sony Marvel shows, with the first series being A Silk Spider Society. I'm going to Variety.com by Joe Otterson. Amazon is officially moving forward with multiple live-action shows based on the Marvel characters controlled by Sony, Variety has learned. The first series is under the deal will be Silk Spider Society, which was developed by The Walking Dead showrunner Angela Kang, along with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse producers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. I did not know they were attached to it. That's very exciting. Kang will serve as showrunner and EP on Silk as part of a new multi-year overall television deal she has signed with Amazon. Kang, Lord, and Miller, all executive producers, will all executive produce, along with former Sony boss Amy Pascal, which of course she was real prominent for all the Spider-Man stuff we have now. Sony Pictures Television is a studio, with Lord and Miller currently under an overall deal there. Silk Spider Society will debut domestically on MGM's Plus's linear channel, followed by global launch on Prime Video, which is where everyone's going to watch it. The show is based on characters created by Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos for Marvel Comics. It follows Cindy Moon, described as a Korean-American woman bitten by the same spider that bit Peter Parker, as she escapes imprisonment and searches for her missing family on her way to becoming the superhero known as Silk. I'm all in. I'm definitely not watching on MGM Plus, whatever that is. Just wait until it comes on Amazon Video. What a weird way to do things.
No sense.
Releases this week, Wednesday, November 23rd. Wednesday drops on Netflix. Are you going to be checking that out?
Yes.
Okay. I might watch the first couple episodes of that one too. And then Wednesday, November 23rd, over on Peacock, is Pitch Perfect Bumper in Berlin.
I will not be checking.
We might watch that one, but that's just because we like Pitch Perfect over here.
The first one I saw, and it was good.
Yeah.
And then after that, it seemed to just gradually kind of
this like most sequels do. Unfortunately, unless you're a Marvel film.
I mean, there's good performances in them.
Yeah.
But as far as story and
very flat, very flat and linear, nothing really there.
Well, you can't be flat and be Pitch Perfect.
Hey.
All right, on to movies. Have you watched anything else this week? Anything at all?
Have I? No. I watched Black Panther. That was 2 weeks ago. So no, I haven't watched anything else. I had to sit there. I don't know why I had to think about that for so hard.
Because you've been busy.
Yeah, it's been a week.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's been kind of the same thing over here. Just I haven't done much watching or playing of anything. I think I'm finally it's starting to catch up to me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like just drained and don't want to do it.
Just exhausted and nothing holds my attention right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly where you're at.
But one thing that did hold our attention from the time we saw it to the time now that we get to talk about spoilers of it.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And let's just go right ahead. We've covered the story.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so if you want to hear our thoughts on the story, listen to last week's episode. But let's talk about really the huge reveal at the end.
Yes, that was the biggest thing. And let me tell you, my aunt and her kids went and watched. One watched it yesterday, and she said she loved it, and they all loved it, which was great. But then she goes, I said, "What'd you think about the end credit scene?" She goes, "Oh, we Googled it while we were sitting there, and they said there was no post credit scenes, so we just got up and left." I said, "Oh my god!" So I called them. I said, "No, there was one." I said, "This is what it was," because I looked online for it. Of course, Marvel and Disney have that locked down where there are no end credit scenes on there, or whatever. Which apparently I did come across. Apparently there were supposed to be two, but Ryan Coogler said he did not want that other one in there. But it was Doctor Doom was in there talking about the moon, and that was supposed to be the second post credit scene. I don't know if we'll ever see that. I'm sure we will, but that was supposed to be in there, and Ryan Coogler said no, that's not going to be in my film.
You know the cool thing about that, especially if they already filmed it, which I would think they did,
Mm-hmm.
is because they would have had another director film it anyway. Is they could just drop that on Disney Plus.
Right, and just a small little, or what they'll do is they'll probably put it in a whole new series, or not have to film something else, or a film.
We get a post-credit scene to the holiday special, the Guardians holiday special.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of wouldn't fit, but at the same
Right.
time,
It could.
it would.
I wonder if.
Talking about the moon,
Right.
and we're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I wonder if they, because it's apparently like in some places it did show, like in your early premieres it did show. But like no one, I don't think anyone's allowed to talk about it or something like that. I wonder if they push it back to like Quantumania, and not have anything else filmed. I just say, hey, we're going to use this instead.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah, because that's our next movie. But I thought that was very interesting. Anyways, I called her and told her, and she was like, "Oh," she goes, "Yeah, we didn't see that." I'm like, "How do you not see? Like, how did you not stay and see Nakia revealing that her and T'Challa had a son named T'Challa, and we are 100% setting up the new Avengers or the Young Avengers? Right. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like if nothing, and I don't understand if how we're not doing that, how we haven't even talked about that at any D23 or anything. So, but man, it was. I'm still about right where I am when we talked last week about the film, and just the CGI was really bad. But I have to understand that it was during COVID. This is our last MCU COVID movie or project, I feel like, and it just is what it is, and they had to work with what they worked with. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Obviously the big focus going in was who's going to be the new Black Panther.
Yes, and Marvel, they tweeted it out today from their official account. So watch the new Black Panther movie, and it's got a picture of Shuri with a Black Panther pose. And I'm like, okay, well,
yeah, I
guess you get a week, and that's about it.
Not your favorite choice.
Yeah, and talking with Jamie, I think that's part of my problem why I was so low on it early on, was just because I did not want her becoming it, and I knew she was going to be, just because of just all her political stances, and I don't know.
The thing that surprised me about it, kind of tied to that, is if something else flares up, is she going to make herself available as someone that has to carry a film? Right.
And I don't feel like she did a great I don't feel like she's a lead actress, honestly, as far as this goes. I was fine with her as like a side character, but man, could you imagine Nakia, or which now we know why she wouldn't have taken up the role, was because she's got a son to protect and can't be doing all the superhero stuff. Or like M'Baku, which I'm assuming he's king of Wakanda now. I mean, that's kind of where we left it, right?
He said he was challenging for the throne.
Yeah, and Shuri apparently knew about it, and that was just that. So.
Yeah. So now the interesting part's going to be how long before we get a glimpse at a new, young, let's just say, baby Black Panther.
Right, teenage Black Panther. Especially since the heart-shaped herb is synthetic now. And listen, speaking of that, because Michael B. Jordan burnt it all down on Killmonger. What a surprise cameo to have him back in this movie, and to have him be the spirit realm, her spirit guide. And I was like, oh, I got so excited. I was half right. That's what I was half right about, was him being. I wanted him to come back to be Black Panther, but we didn't get that arc.
It was kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because
right.
Getting back, you're like, oh, he really is dead.
Yep.
So, he's not going to be Black Panther.
He's not coming back.
Yeah. No, not at all. That's as close as we're going to get to it. We, of course, this was non-spoilery, and we talked about it last week. Namor appearing in the film. And I was trying to think if we really had. I don't think there was anything that we withheld talking about with him.
Right.
Because nothing really tied to the other stuff.
I'm curious, after thinking, for a week of everything about it, why wouldn't he? You think he would have been more angry about the snap? Like, because half of his people, unless he got snapped himself and can't wage war against the landers or Earthlanders, what do you want to call them, if he got snapped. But I feel like that would have been a big thing. But I guess if you think he got snapped, then you don't have to worry about it.
I wonder if he did. I wonder if any of them did. Because wasn't it... Didn't the snap, wasn't the way that they worded it, that it took out half of all known life in the universe?
Well, just half of all life.
Was it just half of all?
Yeah.
I thought it was half of all known life. Because I don't think anyone really knows about them.
That's true, too.
So they could have been immune to it, I guess. And if they aren't coming up to the surface a lot, they may not have realized.
Yeah.
How crazy a story would it be to find out that Namor and the Atlanteans had no idea a snap occurred?
Right. Because you got the whole world talking about the geographical collapse and everything. Oh, something else we talked about last week too. Madame Hydra and Martin Freeman's character were married, and now we officially have her job title. She's director of CIA, and she knew the whole time that he was obviously talking to the Wakandans. But I thought that was very, very different. Kind of got more for her story, but not really. So I'm curious to see where we go from here. But she's clearly, because he has said, what would you have done with if you had all the vibranium? She goes, oh, I dream of it. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're obviously a villain. But I thought that was not expecting her in it at all. Her, Michael B. Jordan, Ironheart, I'm still not very high on the outfit, but we've got that out of the way, so hopefully we can get some better CGI for her on her series. Yeah. Really excited about her still. Just not that suit, because that was terrible.
Yeah, the performance was really good. The character was well written, but like you said, the suit
horrendous.
Very clunky as well.
Yes.
Just didn't like the overall design of it. So
no.
I was wanting something sleek.
Mm-hmm.
Especially next to the Black Panther armor.
Oh, the Black Panther, her armor, Shuri's armor was terrible looking. Like, I did not like that at all. I did not, I don't know. And maybe I'm just a little too hard on it all, but the CGI just really took me out of a lot of the story. Just because I feel like I'm being too critical about it. But if I can notice it that easy and it bothered me that much, like you could tell when they were using the video wall from Disney,
Right.
and you could tell what was CGI. I did not like it, especially the end scene where they were on top of the barge ship thing. It was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. It I did not like it, but
Well, let me ask you this, because this is something I kind of thought about in relation to that over the course of now 2 weeks. They've been getting hit a lot on their CGI. Remember when we first got images of She-Hulk, people were complaining in the teaser trailer
yes,
for it that it looked horrible. And by the time we saw it, it was better. There were still a couple of moments here or there that were rough. Do you think that they go away from doing as much with the video wall and from doing as much CGI? Try and do more practical where they can.
I don't know. Like I would hope so because it would look better in some instances. But they have to, like with these shows and movies, you have to use a lot of CGI on some things. I don't know if it was with you or if it was with the podcast I was watching, but with the holiday special for Guardians coming up, a lot of people are talking about Groot looks practical in some of the scenes. It might have been when we were doing our breakdown of it. But someone mentioned that on the trailer, and James Gunn came out and said this week on Twitter, actually, he said, no, he goes, I'm going to pass that on to our awesome special effects team because he is not practical. He is 100% CGI still. And everyone was just baffled because it looked like he was a practical suit. But he wasn't. All CGI still. So maybe it's the COVID era, kind of slipping away, but I don't know.
Could be. Or maybe they just having more projects in development, they're having to bring some people in that they
Right.
normally wouldn't have given as much to do until they had the experience, and maybe they're having to rely on some of those people and it's showing.
Right.
I don't know.
Whole lot of things, but whatever they did this movie was not it, and don't ever do it
Yeah.
again.
There's not really, outside of T'Challa's son, which is going to be interesting to see also if he goes back to Wakanda.
Well, I think
And
he'll stay in
he's,
Haiti for a while.
yeah, for a while, but then when he goes back, does he just take the throne?
Hmm.
It's really his.
Right. Or does he
So
have to challenge for it like they did? See, I don't know. I feel like M'Baku would give it away too if he felt like he was worthy of it. Because, I mean, that was the whole thing with M'Baku. He didn't respect any of the other kings until T'Challa came around. And then he started respecting him and following him into battle and everything. And that's why he was so high on their family afterwards. So, I mean, I don't know. I want M'Baku to raise this kid.
one thing that we shouldn't neglect to mention was the major unexpected death in the movie,
Mm.
because we kind of glossed over that too last week. Um, but the Queen fell
Mm-hmm.
at the hands of Namor,
And that
and
was a rough one too.
really she could have survived, right?
Yep.
But she
Well,
chose to sacrifice her life to save someone else's.
mm-hmm. The queenly thing to do. I mean, Angela Bassett. Listen. If she doesn't get an Oscar or something from this, an award, because her performance was so damn good, like
Yeah.
start to finish, the whole movie, she put her every ounce of her soul and her all into this film. And oh, dear, if anybody gets anything off of an MCU movie, it needs to be her for her
Well,
performance.
she usually does that in her work anyway, but you have to think that especially the folks that worked with him a lot, wanted to nail this
Mm-hmm.
for Chadwick Boseman.
It's a great tribute movie for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So, oh, what a movie! I want to watch it again. Obviously, I'll get the steelbook for it and hopefully be less critical over it.
Now that you know what you're going to see, you
Yeah.
can enjoy it more. On to our movie of the week. we have reviewed Enola Holmes 2.
Finally.
Has it been almost 3 years since we watched the first one?
I think so, because that was... let me Google one. When did Enola Holmes come out?
It's going to give you last week's date or whatever.
September 23rd, 2020. I did not realize that was a 2020 movie.
It's been 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's still too long.
Yes, too long.
Constantly stay in production on these, and we'll be fine.
I'm okay with giving up Henry Cavill for The Witcher if he could play Sherlock more.
Yeah, there you go. Sherlock and Superman.
Right.
Or a combination of the two.
I'd be down for that.
So, a quick synopsis. Fresh off the triumph of solving her first case, which, by the way, no one gives her credit for, Enola Holmes, played by Millie Bobby Brown, follows in the footsteps of her famous brother Sherlock, played by Henry Cavill, and opens her own agency, only to find that life as a female detective for hire isn't as easy as it seems. Resigned to accepting the cold realities of adulthood, she's about to close shop when a penniless matchstick girl offers Enola her first official job, to find her missing sister. But this case proves to be far more puzzling than expected, as Enola is thrown into a dangerous new world, from London's sinister factories and colorful music halls to the highest echelons of society in 221B Baker Street itself. As the sparks of a deadly conspiracy ignite, Enola must call upon the help of friends and Sherlock himself to unravel her mystery. The game, it seems, has found its feet again. I really liked this movie. Sequels can be hit or miss.
Right.
And I really liked the film. I'm going to come in on this. I'm just going to go ahead and give my rating real quick. I'm going to come in on this at a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I was very high on it. I like that they used a real life situation to build the story around.
I see. I didn't know that until the end. And that shows why they did that. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, give my score real quick while you keep going. I'm at 4.5. Like, I almost give this a 5 stars, and I honestly I still might next while I'm sitting here thinking about it, because
watch it again and just say, you know what, that's 5. That's 5.
Yeah, that's a 5 one.
The performances all around were great. I've got the IMDb page here pulled up so I can actually look at our astounding cast. So we already mentioned Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill, although Tyler wouldn't mind if we mentioned Henry Cavill again, because he's a big fan.
Can't go wrong with old Cavill.
Then we had Grail, played by David Thewlis. And of course, Louis Partridge was back as Tewksbury.
Mm-hmm.
We got Susan Wokoma back as Edith. Helena Bonham Carter is back as Eudora Holmes. And Adil Akhtar as Lestrade, the
old Lestrade.
Or Lestrade. He just kind of goofy, that character.
Which is not how he's usually cast in any of the other shows or movies or anything.
Right.
Which I think it works here a little. Sometimes he was a little too goofy and too aloof, rather. But man, them adding David Thewlis to the cast for this. So now you've got 2 different Harry Potter stars in this film. And everything he does was just spectacular. Like, I mean, perfect casting for this. And like, I'm right there with you. Like, nobody had a bad beat in this whole film. And of course, we're going to go full on spoilers for this one just because we've been waiting forever and talking about it for a while. So if you haven't watched it, now is the time to click off. But dear God, did you see Moriarty, Miratroy, coming into play? Like, it was because of course you're thinking about you're thinking of Enola Holmes' case. You weren't really so much focusing on Sherlock Holmes, what he was going through. They kind of peppered it in there and how it was related. But then they pointed Moriarty, and I was like, oh, so it's got to be someone close. And then it was right before the reveal. Because when he sent the telegram off, and what was the guy who that made you think it was? Who was really still a bad guy? God, I can't think of that guy's name. Oh, McIntyre. When
Yeah.
they had him come in, I said, "Oh my God, his secretary's Moriarty," because this guy's not smart enough to do any of this stuff. And then I got to thinking, because I didn't say that out loud yet, and I was like, "Oh, she is her," because she was giving Enola all this advice and what to do and stuff like that during the ball, and it's just that's that Moriarty before the big reveal of give you those little shoves in the direction they want you to do. And having it be a female this time and Sharon Duncan Brewster playing her, God, dude, I told Jamie, I said, that is a perfect Moriarty, and I'm really excited. And even I texted you last night because there was a post-credit scene, which was very, very good on its own. But I Googled, I was like, there has to be a third one. They have to be talking about it, but there's been no mention of it yet. And if we don't get a third one of this series to close it out, I'm going to be very, very upset. So,
Wasn't anything out.
yeah.
We're gonna have the whole universe for this franchise, and it's gonna be like 30 films. We're gonna enjoy every one of
Yes.
them. What one thing I loved about the fact though that they cast Sharon Duncan Brewster in this, she was able in the scene with the reveal, like she was able to play the character softer
Mm-hmm.
for the whole movie, and then in the scene with the reveal, there were a couple of shots where she gets this look in her eye.
Oh,
You're like, oh, she's crazy.
yeah. Like she is very pulling the strings, very puppet mastery, but she's
It's
very evil, but very like psychotic evil.
it was almost the look she got a couple times. You could almost describe as creepy. This
Mm-hmm.
look in her eye that was just like she's not gonna stop.
Right.
And we find out she escapes.
Yes, and as
And
soon as
before the
they
film
put her, as soon as they arrested her, didn't have one of the Holmes on her. I was like, oh yeah, she's escaping from this, and we get that
yeah,
little glimpse in the newspaper that she does. So I was like, oh, so we're setting up the third movie, baby, and oh man, it's. I feel like with this one, because of the first movie, we got a lot of Enola Holmes and very little of Sherlock and passing up until the right at the end, which
yeah.
was fine. We were reintroduced into Enola, not Sherlock. Everyone knows Sherlock,
Right.
and in real life and in the film. And this one was almost 50-50. I would say, what, 55% Enola? I would say 60% Enola, 30% Sherlock, or 40% Sherlock, sorry. And math is hard.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that because we got some of that iconic Sherlocky stuff in there. His violin, his hat. No, we didn't get his hat in this film because you can't take Henry Cavill's beautiful hair away. But you got his pipe and his violin, and it was just very well done. And what took Enola Holmes, like she's younger, obviously. What was it? A couple hours to figure out the poem. He figured it
Uh-huh.
out, and just by reading it for the first time. And I was like, "This is so good!" Like, and Millie Bobby and Henry Cavill's interactions were always so good. Like, it was almost like they were really brother and sister, just the way that
Mhm.
their acting performances were. And
Right.
I told Jamie, I said, I could watch these guys all day. Like, this is to me, this series and Enola Holmes 2 are some of the best filmmaking that I have seen in a long time. Not being a Marvel property either.
Um, a couple of more cast members I want to touch on before we talk about some other stuff here. Just some standout performances based on their time on screen as well as what they did. Gabriel Tierney, who was William Lyon, was
Hmm.
really good. Hannah Dodd, who played the Sarah Chapman Cicely
Did
character.
not catch on until we saw her at Tewksbury's
Right.
apartment. That's who that was.
Uh huh. Charles McIntyre was played by Tim McMullen. Very good. You immediately didn't like him.
Yes.
And then finally, Sarana Suling Bliss played Bessie. And for an actor that young
Hmm.
to do what she did, phenomenal.
Her faces were
Um,
really well done, acting wise. when Enola was going up to the office and her freaking out like she was going to get in trouble for it. Like, perfect. Oh, just so perfect.
Yeah, because it was completely unreasonable too that you
Yeah.
would have her get in trouble because someone else walked off from the
Yes.
station. But that's how they would have handled
Yep.
it. The final name to mention, though, Himesh Patel. We get the reveal and meet for the first time in this series Dr. Watson.
I don't know what did it last night. Where I was like, I'm going to scroll. Maybe it's just all the years ingrained for me from the Marvel movies. But I was like, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit and see if there's a post credit scene. And sure enough, that popped up. And as soon as it happened, I texted you because I didn't want you to miss it. Because we got Dr. Watson. Like, we talked about this, they kind of peppered it in throughout the movie of that Sherlock is lonely, needs a friend, and he's asked Enola multiple times to move in with him. Kind of told her once, and then asked her at the end of the movie. And she said, well, she goes, you need a friend. She goes, let's set up appointments each week where we can just kind of hang out and either talk about cases, just be together. And so she says, Thursday at 4. And he says, okay, Thursday at 4. And sure enough, Thursday at 4 comes around. There's a knock at the door, and the little clock goes off. He says, oh, Thursday at 4. And he opens the door, and who was standing there but Mr. Patel as Dr. Watson. And he said, oh, the little girl told me to be here at 4. I didn't want to miss my appointment. And he said, ah. And he said, you are? And he said, who you are, Mr. And he said, Doctor, actually, Dr. Watson. And Henry Cavill makes a face, and he lets him into the apartment, and they shut the door, and that's the end of the movie. And damn it, Chris, if this movie just didn't get me at that point even more. I was like, oh, how could they leave me alone even more? And here we are.
I think that's a sign that we will get a third one. What's going to be interesting is, do they branch them off?
Right.
We keep following Enola on some of her adventures, but then does Henry Cavill come back along with Himesh Patel and do a Sherlock movie or two?
Could you imagine them doing a Sherlock movie or two, but with Enola, like having that same split, having Sherlock and Dr. Watson with Henry Cavill and Patel, and do like the 60-40 split, mainly focus on Sherlock and Watson? That would be so good. And like just gold mine here, and bring the same writers on because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, what a movie! Like
very, very, very good film. And you know, it's one that we waited over
those 2 years for. I mean, we were both extremely heavy on. Well, we extremely loved Enola Holmes, the first one,
right?
And we had to agonizingly wait. And we finally got the news. I guess it was at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, when they said they are going to make another one. And you know, we've waited those 2 years. And that's something too. I wanted to watch. That's what it was when I was thinking about movies I had watched. I wanted to watch Enola Holmes before seeing this one, but it turns out you didn't really have to, because they kind of summed things up quite well. And the callbacks, I loved the callbacks. You had Edith, her mom, in there, and just all those brilliant and beautiful callbacks. And it's just really good. Like they know what they're doing, and I need them to do this movie series forever. Please, dear Lord.
I like the way that they start the film, because you get her running from the cops at the very beginning. And you're like, all right, what's happened? And then she breaks the fourth wall and says, let me explain. And it goes all
and
the
it
way
reverses it back. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
man.
Love the film.
I think I'm just a sucker for fourth wall breaking.
Probably.
Yeah. That might be what it is.
Yeah. You know, She-Hulk, Enola Holmes.
Yep. Deadpool. Never seen that movie. Yeah, Deadpool.
You've never seen
1 and 2. Well, how was that?
Huh?
I just Deadpool 1 and 2. I wonder how much they're doing Deadpool 3.
All right. Well, we'll remedy that one thing at some point in the future.
Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. Movie review for next week. We are going to review Where the Crawdad Sings. It's currently on Netflix. We saw the preview for this.
Elvis.
Yeah. We'd gone to see Elvis, and they had this preview.
God, talk about another great movie.
That looks.
Man.
Yeah. So, I've been wanting to see this anyway, and we flipped a coin, a virtual coin, and
Thanks, Siri.
there it was. Yeah, thanks, Siri. Um, and then after that, we'll be doing a few Christmas movies all the way through. That is going to take us close to show 100.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have to do something special for that one. Like,
Yeah.
as far as film wise goes, we're going to have to pick something real special for that one, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Um, no notable news this week in film. Nothing major has occurred. Um, Releases, Bones and All is in theaters November 23rd, and Disenchanted is on Disney Plus November the 24th.
Bones and All's like a creepy werewolf horror-y movie. So, I've seen trailers for it. I'm like, yeah, cool. Another movie I'm going to skip. Chris, you played anything crazy this week? I know you said you hadn't really been really drained, so.
I hadn't played a whole lot crazy. After we recorded last Sunday, I did manage to get in about half an hour for God of War.
That beginning scene get you as much as it got me?
Yeah.
Dude, that was beautiful. And you're just getting started. I played, I think I'm 9-10 hours in now. And I'm at, because the Video Game Award nominations came out. You know, son of a, that's what I meant to bring up. That's exactly what I got to bring up. We'll hit the big ones up on that one.
Okay.
I meant to add that to the docket. I knew I was forgetting something. But there are some performances in this game that are just out of this world. And I want to mention two, but two of them are spoilers. And both are spoilers, so I can't really reveal those yet. But man, it's so good. So I played a little bit more of that, just a couple more hours, nothing crazy. Call of Duty's Warzone 2 and DMZ came out this week. Phenomenal. Like, I'm all back in and cannot stop playing that whenever I get a chance to play with my buddy. And just nonstop. And then Pokemon Scarlet came out on Friday. I played maybe 3 hours. Nothing worthwhile yet. From what all the reviews have said, it's a near perfect game, except the technical issues are so bad. That it hitches, you get frame drops so bad, pop-ins, pop-outs. It just shows you how dated the Switch is and how much we need a Switch Pro. And even on the Switch OLED, people are saying the same exact issues. And I'm just like, oh, like this, we're reaching the limit to the Switch. I honestly think we've already passed the limit of it, but as long as I keep making money and making record-breaking deals, why do you need to make a better one? So, but that's been my week. Hopefully this week, with it being a holiday, I can get a little bit more gaming in and not having to work. Hopefully I can get some more gaming in. But like I told you, the pre-show, my cousin and very close friends coming out for the holidays starting tomorrow. So I imagine there's going to be a bunch of tomfoolery we get into, and we'll see. So
Just don't end up in the hospital.
Yes, I don't want to end up back in the ER. So hopefully that doesn't happen. News this week. This is a big one we've been talking about for some time. The Witcher 3's next-gen update is finally coming on December 14th for free. So I can't wait to play that on Xbox Series X. And maybe actually, I don't know, I'll still be playing these games by then. But if not, I finally want to beat The Witcher 3. I've been like halfway, 75% through, and never beat it. But with the updated graphics and everything, oh yeah, I want to jump back in. And then we had the Game Awards list come out for 2022, which is only, I think that's 2 weeks away? It is 2 weeks away from this Thursday. God, I can't wait. We're going to skip like a bunch of the esports stuff, just because between you and I, we really don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. Best debut indie: Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors. I think Stray wins that one.
That's the only one I've seen anything of.
Yeah.
But
Neon White, I've seen some gameplay of. Stray's just a bigger game because of PlayStation exclusive as well. Best indie: Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. Honestly, between those 5, toss up, complete toss up. Cult of the Lamb, I know I've been wanting to play. It's not on Game Pass, but I've been wanting to buy it because it's only $30 and it looks fun, and you get to name your cult, and it just looks really cool. Best ongoing game: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. I would love for Destiny to win. It's either going to be Apex or Genshin, though. Games for Impact: and Memoir Blue, As Dusk Falls, Citizen Sleeper, Endling, Extinction is Forever, Hindsight, and I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. I've only heard of As Dusk Falls, personally. So, best performance: Ashley Birch in Horizon Forbidden West, Charlotte McBurney, A Plague Tale Requiem, Christopher Judge, God of War Ragnarok, who plays Kratos, Manon Gage, Immortality, and Sonny Soljic from God of War Ragnarok. He plays Atreus or Loki. I would hope Christopher. It's between Christopher Judge and Ashley Birch, personally, but Kratos is such a good and complex character. I think he wins it. Christopher Judge does, but he won it 4 years ago for 2018 for best character. So could he pull up a back-to-back? I imagine he could, just because he's wonderful. Best audio design: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West. Again, toss up between God of War and Horizon, although Elden Ring could come in there. I don't know about audio for them. Best score in music: Olivier de Reverie from A Plague Tale Requiem, Tsukasa Saito from Elden Ring, Bear McCreary, God of War Ragnarok, Two Feathers from Metal Hellsinger, and Yasunori Mitsuda from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I don't have enough insight. I mean, God of War, it's got some beautiful stuff, so does Elden Ring. But
it's tough because unless you've actually listened and paid attention to the scores,
yes,
you can't really.
And let me tell you, God of War, like ever since these nominations come out, I've been paying attention. I've been listening, making sure I'm listening. And God of War's got some good stuff in there. But
yeah,
Elden Ring, the music I don't really pay attention to while I was playing it. And the other ones I've not played. So I can't really speak on that one. And then a couple more. Best art direction: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, and Stray. Are you starting to see a pattern here, Chris? And this is something that people have been bringing up on a quick side note. Have you heard any Xbox exclusives yet? Because there were none this year that fits any of this, which is unfortunate. And trust me, they have noticed. Microsoft Xbox has noticed this. So we'll see what next year looks like. Best art direction: Elden Ring might get that. I would like Horizon Forbidden West to win something, but we will see. Best narrative: A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. Elden Ring, I don't think will win. Plague Tale, did never play. God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West for me. Of course, I'm not even halfway through Ragnarok, and the story is so damn good. But Horizon Forbidden West was a decent story, not as good as the first one to me, so I picked God of War for this one. And then second to last, best game direction. We might as well just keep going. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, and Stray. A toss-up. Depends whatever the critics pick for that one. And then game of the year: A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I believe I voted for God of War Ragnarok, even just for the limited amount that I played.
Yeah, I think that's probably the favorite.
It's going to be between it and Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a surprise pop up there like Stray just to elevate.
Well, that's what happened last year. Game of the year was that one indie from Joseph, what's his name, from his studio. The divorced mom and dad one. It Takes Two.
Yeah.
So, which was a complete out of nowhere pick.
So maybe we get that again. I doubt it because God of War is such.
It's honestly between Elden Ring and God of War. Like I don't. Yeah. That's been the whole conversation this whole year. Can God of War upset Elden Ring? And because a lot of people played it, absolutely loved it, and I hate it for Horizon because they can't win anything. So we'll see. Maybe because from one of the podcasts I was listening to, I kind of heard the weights and the weights and the votes. So a lot of these are 90% like your critics, like your websites and things like that, and 10% fan votes like URI. And I'm like, I don't like that, but I think that's every award show anywhere. So
I don't mind the critics having more of a say, but I think they need to balance it better.
Yeah, like maybe a 60-40. I keep going to 60-40 for some reason tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah,
even 75-25.
Yeah. There needs to be a different way there. But those are your nominations for Game of the Year. We've got 2 weeks until that. And I'm so excited. It's my favorite event every year. And such a nerd, I guess. Notable new releases. Just Dance 2023 on everything but PC, November 22nd. So guys, that has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. I hope every single one of you guys have a great and fun Thanksgiving. If you go out Black Friday shopping, you get some good nerdy games, movie stuff, let Chris or I know, or the Nerdwide Podcast page know on Twitter. I would love to see it. I don't know if we're going out this year. I think we might late at night, but if only we could find something. Usually find like a bunch of cool little movie box sets or TV box sets that we get. So we'll see if we go out and find something there.
It's usually a good time to pick up some of those CW shows.
Yes, that's usually when we do pick them up. So speaking of, I need to get Superman and Lois season 2. But ladies, that's something else. We haven't heard anything else from season 3. We know they started filming it, but we have not heard anything else since we knew what's his name left.
Yeah.
So that's the last we've heard. And Bitsy Tulloch hadn't been posting on Instagram or anything. So I'm like, this is odd, because during the second season, that's all she was doing. So I don't know what's going on there. Now, hopefully it's not a sign.
Or maybe it means there's a lot of surprises.
Yeah, that too. Hopefully it's that and not the first one. But guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. Don't forget to share it on all your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget to rate and review us on whatever podcasting service you are using. On social media, you can follow us at Nerdwide. On Twitter, at Nerd_Wide. You can follow me personally at Ty_Haynes. And you can follow Chris at MaffTN7. If you're on the Facebook side of things, go to Facebook.com and you can search that little search bar for Nerdwide or Nerdwide Podcast, or the first thing that pops up with our logo. If you follow us on either one of those are your first ways to notify when we post an episode if you're not already subscribed. But as I said earlier, have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you next time for a bunch of Christmas, the Santa Claus show. I cannot wait, and Where the Crawdad Sings. But guys, have a great holidays, and we will see you next week.